Hello, everyone. My name is Curtis. Today I'm going to do a review for Sistas, Season 9, Episode 20. The episode begins at the hair salon. We see Danny, we see Pam. Pam was able to do Danny's hair and she looks really good. She tells Danny that Rooster Riches is going to get her together every single time. Danny tells her that she is glad that she looks better than she feels. Pam tells her that she should feel like an entrepreneur. And she tries to bring up their business plan, but Danny's like, you know what, let's slow down for a second. Let's just calm down. We still need to have a conversation with Karen just to make sure that she is on board. So Pam was like, you know what, speaking of Karen, her event is going to start soon. We got to get ready. Like, what are you going to wear? Danny tells her that she's not going. We then go over to Karen's apartment and we see Karen. She's getting ready and she looks great, by the way. She looks really good. She ends up walking into the living room area and we see Aaron. He's putting a couple of things in some boxes. And so Karen is very flustered. She starts talking about how, she pumped extra breast milk just in case the baby starts to cry. And then also she says, if the baby starts to fuss, there's also a noise app that he can use. And so Aaron, he's paying attention, but he's not really paying attention because, like I said, he's trying to put some things in some boxes. So then she's just like, you know what? Maybe I should just cancel the party. Maybe I should not do this. Like, there's so much going on. I need to focus on moving. Like, maybe I should cancel. So Aaron's like, you know what? You don't need to cancel. I have everything under control. I have everything handled. And while, they're having this conversation, he's looking over at the couch and we see, like, this bag. And so Karen sees that he's looking at this bag. So she's like, what is going on? Like, what is this about? So he's like, you know what? We need to have a conversation. We then go over to Andy's place and we see Andy getting ready. She looks good as well. And so she's looking in the mirror, making sure that her makeup is good, her hair is good, her outfit is good. And then she notices that her mom is there and she's startled because she thought that her mom had left. So she asked her mom, like, what are you doing here? Her mom was like, are you getting ready to go on a hot date? She was like, no, I'm getting ready to go out with the girls. And then her mom said, judging by the outfit, it looks like your girls are going to make an appearance later. I thought that was funny. She then asked Andy if there's going to be a man waiting for her later that night. Andy says no. Her mom was like, but what about that Dr. Feelgood guy? Andy was like, okay, first of all, his name is not Dr. Feelgood. His name is Dr. Vaughn, and no, he's not going to be waiting for me later that night. So her mom was like, you know what, Andy, I just really want you to be happy, and also want you to have a baby. So she threw that in real quick. Andy was like, listen, I am a career woman. I have a lot going on. Like, I do not have time to tend to a baby. And then she started thinking about it. She was like, why are you so concerned about my love like all of a sudden? Like, maybe I should be talking to you about your love. Like, do you have somebody that's going to be entertaining you later tonight? She tells Andy that the Lord has blessed her with good lovers to last her for a lifetime. Andy tells her that the Lord did not do the same thing for her, unfortunately. So her mom was like, when it comes to time, it doesn't wait for anyone. And she's like, even though it doesn't look like it, I am getting older. Then Andy was like, when it comes to, being a mother, having a child, I do not think that's ever going to happen for me. The next thing you know, her mom, she has this look of shock on her face. She's kind of just standing still. She drops her cup. Then she starts to stumble. Looks like she's getting ready to fall. Andy catches her, brings her over to the bench, sits her down. So she's like, Mom, what's going on? And so it does take a while, but Valerie does eventually come back too. And she's like, oh, I must have kind of stood up too quick. And so Andy was like, no, that can't be. You've already standing up. Like, what's going on? And so her mom was like, oh, I must have forgotten to take my medicine. So Andy's like, medicine for what? She tells her that the doctor prescribed her some medication, but it's not anything that she needs to worry about. Like, you have a party to get to, like, just go there, enjoy yourself, have fun, don't worry about me. Andy was just like, I don't really feel comfortable going to this party after seeing what I just saw. And so her mom was just like, well, it's okay because my sister, which would be, of course, Andy's aunt, she's on her way. She's going to take me to church. And so everything's going to be good. She'll look after me. So Andy was like, we need to skip church. And then her mom was like, no. And I was like, what exactly is going on here? She was like, go, just leave, just go. So Andy, of course, she's looking shocked. She's like, what is going on? But she does eventually get up and she does leave. We then go to Maurice's apartment and we see that Dylan is there. Maurice actually gets a call and it turns out to be Pam. And so Pam tells Maurice that he needs him to convince Danny to go to this party. So Maurice was like, just put me on speakerphone. Danny was like, look, Maurice, I do not have time for your shit right now. He was like, listen, Danny, we have money to make and we have drinks to take. Danny was like, look, I can go home, sit on my couch, be in my onesie, and I can get drunk by myself. Pam was like, look, all you need is some tequila and a man to give you some attention. That's really all you need right now. She was like, listen, what I need you to do is to stay out of my business. Then she gets up and she leaves. And Pam was like, look, I don't have time for this shit. I have to go home and get ready to go to this party. I will see you at the venue. Once the two of them get off of the phone, we hear somebody knocking on the door. So Maurice does go to the door. He opens it, and it turns out to be Sabrina, who looks really good, by the way. And so once she walks in, he was like, wow, you look really good for once. I was like, Maurice, that is so rude. Sabrina was like, listen, I am the one at the two. Please do not play with me. And so as they are having like their little banter, This is when Maurice lets Sabrina know that Danny's not coming to the party. She was like, why? He was like, I'm not really sure. She said something about like some onesies or something. Like, that she's top heavy, right? I said, Maurice is absolutely insane. Sabrina tells Maurice that Karen is going to be crushed when she finds out that Danny is not going to go to her going away party. He was like, exactly, which is why I want you to be the one to deliver the news. And so before Sabrina could say anything, he's like, I want you all to try my new drink, and it's called Boy Die, and it appears that that drink is really strong. We then go back to Karen's apartment and we see that she and Aaron, they're sitting down on the couch because they're going to have this conversation because remember, Aaron said that he had something that he needed to tell her. Karen asks him what's going on. He tells her that he's actually going to go to Seattle tomorrow so that we can get the house set up for her and the baby. She was like, wait a minute, so you are leaving tomorrow? He was like, yeah. She was like, you didn't feel like you needed to have a conversation with me first? He was like, no, because I feel like I'm doing the right thing. Like, I'm getting everything set up for you and the baby. So that way, once you come, it's just going to be smooth sailing. And so she was like, but you still should have spoken to me first. Like, that's a big deal. And so the two of them, they do go back and forth for a while. But eventually, he does say, you know what? Now that I think about it, you are right. I should have had a conversation with you first. I do apologize. I'm sorry. And so when it comes to Karen, she does look around. She sees all of the boxes. And she's like, you know what? Everything is pretty much in boxes, so we should all just go together. He was like, what do you mean? She was like, when it comes to me, you and the baby, we should all just leave tomorrow. He was like, are you sure about that? She was like, yeah. When it comes to my mom, I can have her come over. She can communicate with the movers and she can help them, but we can all go together. He was like, are you sure? Are you positive? She was like, yes, I'm sure. I'm positive. And then she said, when it comes to the party, I will just let the girls know once I get there. We go back to Maurice's apartment and we see that he and Sabrina are having a conversation. Sabrina lets him know that Fatima handled the money, and she also lets him know that she is actually starting to like Fatima. And speaking of Fatima, she does knock on the door. They do, of course, let her in. And so when she comes inside, she notices that it's kind of empty. So she's like, where's everybody at? They're like, people are a little bit late, but they will be here soon. And then they break the news that Danny's not going to be there. She's like, why is Danny not coming? And so Sabrina's like, well, we feel like she's in one of her moves. That's why she's not going to come. So Fatima's like, oh my God, well, who's going to tell Karen? And then Maurice actually starts pointing at Sabrina. And speaking of Karen, her and Andy actually arrive together. And so, of course, they do come in. They do greet everyone. And as they are greeting everyone, Fatima actually approaches Maurice and asks him if he can get her some juice. He was like, juice? Is this daycare night? I don't see any kids. And so when it comes to Fatima, she places her hand over her stomach. He was like, oh, I forgot everyone is full of human in Zachland. And so Maurice, he does end up giving Fatima and Karen juice. Karen starts looking around. She's like, wait a minute, hold on for a second. Where is Danny at? And so everybody, they're hemming and hawing. Nobody wants to say anything. But Sabrina eventually says, you know what, when it comes to Danny, she said that she is not coming. She didn't really go into detail, but she said that she's just not trying to come. So Karen's like, no, that's some bullshit. I'm about to call her. Matter of fact, I'm about to FaceTime her. She ends up FaceTiming Danny, and Danny was just like, hey, what's going on? Karen was like, cut the bullshit. Why are you not here? Danny was like, oh, I'm at work. Karen was like, Danny, we're on FaceTime. I can see you. So Danny was like, look, a lot has happened today. I'm not really in the mood. I'll catch you next time. Karen was like, well, there may not be a next time. Danny was like, what are you talking about? So Karen was like, you know what? I wanted to wait until the party, but I guess I can tell everybody now. Me and Aaron are actually leaving tomorrow to go to Seattle, and everybody was just like, what? The episode then skips ahead because Danny is now over at Maurice's place. And so when it comes to the group, they do ask Karen, like, are you sure that you want to leave so soon? She was like, yeah, when it comes to Aaron, he wants to go to Seattle and set the house up, but I know he's probably not going to set it up the way I like it. It needs a woman's touch, so I need to be there. And so as Karen is explaining this, Maurice looks over at Danny and he sees her outfit and he's like, ooh, what is going on here? Maurice tells Danny to come with him so he can see if he can find something better for her to wear. It was a little shady, it was a little bit rude, but it was also helpful at the same time, so I felt like she appreciated it in the end. Once they leave out of the room, Karen says, you know what, I do want to make a toast to sisterhood and to new beginnings. And then later on, Danny and Maurice, they end up coming back out to the main area. And Danny, she has on a beautiful dress. She looks really nice. And so Sabrina's like, we should take pictures. Fatima's like, you know what, I would take the pictures. So Fatima does take pictures of the ladies. And then Karen eventually is like, you know what, Fatima, I feel like you should be in some of the pictures. Fatima's like, are you sure? She says yes. And so Karen does take pictures of Fatima and the ladies. And I thought that was really nice. Andy was just like, okay, we took the pictures. Danny looks real nice. We should be heading out. So Danny's like, I don't feel like we should leave yet. Like, I just got here. I haven't been able to pregame. Andy was like, look, when it comes to the group, we're not going to wait on you because you decided to be late. And so the children, they start going back and forth. And then Karen was like, look, I do not want to hear this shit. If you are going to be doing this, you need to go home. I said, thank you, Karen. And that does conclude part one of this review. Unfortunately, I do need to split it into two parts. I do apologize. But if you all could, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Hope you all have a great rest of your day. Take care.